Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are making butter croissant. Here's what we need for a small batch and around 6 to 7 croissant. Here on the screen is the baker's math. If you want to take a screenshot you can. Followed by the ingredients list where you can find anywhere in your local grocery store or supermarket. That's it. Very simple ingredients, but combined in the right way they create magic. Alright, let's start by making the dough. We begin with mixing the dry ingredients in the large bowl. Combine the flour, sugar, salt and instant yeast. Now I add the warm milk and warm water together. Both should be around body temperature, not hot, just warm. Then I will add 25 grams of unsalted butter. This adds tenderness and helps the dough roll out more smoothly later. I will mix everything until a rough dough forms. At this stage it may look like a bit dry or uneven, don't worry. Once the dough is smooth, I'll shape it into a rectangle. This small detail helps us later because the dough will already be in the right form for the lamination. I wrap it tightly in a cling film, then place it in the fridge. It needs to chill at least for a couple of hours or even overnight. Now let's prepare the butter block. I'm using 125 grams of cold unsalted butter. I place the butter between two sheets of parchment paper and using a rolling pin, I gently pound and shape it by a 12 by 12 square centimeters. You want the butter to be cold but flexible. If it cracks, it's not too cold. If it feels greasy, it's too warm. Once it's the right texture, I place the butter back into the fridge so that it stays firm while the dough chills. Now comes the most important part, lamination. When we wrap our butter inside the dough, I start by taking out the chilled dough and rolling into a little triangle, just slightly larger than the butter block. Then I'll place the butter right in the center. I would fold the dough over the butter like a letter, one side fold in and then the other side overlap. I press around the edges to seal everything. This step is essential. We need the butter completely enclosed. At this point we have one package that contains dough on the outside and butter trapped inside. This is what will create the beautiful flaky layers. I gently roll the dough into a long rectangle and 3 times longer than its wide, roughly 45 by 20 centimeter. I wrap the dough and place it in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes. Chilling is not optional. The butter stays cold and solid. After chilling, I roll the dough out again to the same size. I fold it third again, wrap it up and back to the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes again. Now comes the turn 3. The final turn is the same. Roll into a rectangle, fold into third and then chill. By the end of the turn 3, you will have beautifully laminated dough with layers of butter and the dough. This is where the magic happens and this is why it's called croissants are flaky. After the last chill, I'll take the dough out and roll it into a rectangle about 40 by 25 centimeter, keeping the thickness even. I trim the edges to make them clean. Trimming helps the layer open up when baking. Then I cut the dough into long triangles depending upon size. The recipe it makes around 6 croissants for me, but you can make it thinner to make it maybe extended to 6 to 7 doughs for you as like a small batch. Each triangle gets a small slit at the base. This helps the croissant roll open in the classic croissant shape. I gently stretch the top of the triangle and then roll it from the base towards the tip. Keep the roll tight but not squashed. Then I place the croissant on a parchment lined tray with the tip tucked underneath so it doesn't pop open during baking. Now I slightly cover the tray to prevent drying and the croissant go into the fridge for an overnight rise. The next morning I take the croissant out of the fridge and let it sit in the room temperature for 1 and 1.5 hours too. Then you should see them like puffy and light and should jiggle when you shake the tray. Once they are ready, I mix 1 egg and a tablespoon of water Gently brush the top of the shiny finish. The croissant bake for 15 to 18 minutes, and around 10 minutes mark you will rotate the tray for even browning. You'll see them rise beautifully as the butter steam lifts the layers apart. And here we are, warm, golden, crisp and smelling beautifully amazing. Look at those layers, flaky exterior, and it's exactly what we want from a French croissant. They are crispy on the outside and soft and buttery inside. I hope you have learned something new and feel inspired to try this at home. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, comment and subscribe for more baking videos. And if you try this recipe, tag me. I would love to see the results. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one.